Psalms 107:29, it states that he calmed the storm with a whisper, and the waves went still. There's so many times in our life where we face these storms. There's so many times where whenever we are in a challenging place financially, it can be trying to understand, to discern spirits, trying to find someone who will love you righteously. We all have our storms, but the great thing about Jesus is that he is the calm to the storm. He is the shining of the sea. It is so miraculous how we can be afraid when it says in this scripture that he calms the storm with a whisper. I mean, if you even want to look at when he was on the boat and the sailors were so scared and they were waking Jesus up, and Jesus was like, y'all of little faith. And then instantly he calmed the whole storms. I mean, he just completely told the waves, shh, and they just stayed still. But we must not be like those sailors. For one, Jesus is always with us in spirit. And we have to understand that Satan wants to put us in a despair state of mind. He wants you to be in a place where you're afraid. He wants you to be in a place where you're trying to take control of the storm. You're trying to swim your way through this storm, and the only thing you're going to end up doing is drowning yourself even more. Our hearts desire love, whether that may be with a friend or a family member or a relationship. We all desire some kind of form of love. But love can be one of the most destructive things upon us, traumatizing at that. If we don't allow Jesus to calm that storm. And the way that you allow Jesus to calm this storm is calling upon his name. You must take initiative and take action. Because a lot of us Christians, we believe that, well, if Jesus wants this to happen, then it'll happen. Which is true in some ways. But God also doesn't call us to sit in a rock at a hard place. You know, we have to allow the guidance of God to guide us. Because if we're just sitting in our own despair, we won't be able to move out of that storm. We have to allow God to push us. We have to allow Jesus Christ to fill us with his hope. And that hope will drag us closer and closer to him. Now, you might be saying, well, Lucas, I'm in the storm right now. And it's really rough and it's really hard. And I don't know what to do. Jesus Christ calls us to lean our understanding upon him. Because we're nothing but flesh. Our minds are not able to understand worldly things in a way of how we must live it spiritually for God. It's very easy for us to take spirituality and try to warp it into a fleshly mindset, and it's just not possible. The only way you'll be able to understand is unless you allow God to allow you to understand. That is why he made that point very clear. Lean upon not of your own understanding. Lean on my understanding. And I will make your path straight. So when you're facing these storms, sometimes it's not always meant to grow you. Sometimes it's meant to teach you to understand why the world will treat you the way it does. So then, when you understand those things, then you're able to understand how to grow from there. Sometimes God has to put you in those places to teach you what it means to live in a fleshly mindset, rather what it means to live in a spiritual mindset. It's two different worlds. But y'all, when you put your full faith in God, you don't have a choice but to live in that spiritual mindset. Otherwise, if you live in your fleshly mindset, you will either idolize, you will either be self-dependent, you will be 50-50, which is on yourself and then on God, and you're not really seeing the full potential that God has for you. You won't really know or understand the meaning of how life is if you don't allow Jesus to help you to understand those things. And that is why this Bible verse is so important, because it teaches us how God is the comforter. It teaches us how God is the calm to our storm. And so, instead of living the mindset of, well, it's just a part of life, or it's just a part of the way that the world, society will make you out to be. No. You will be able to live in peace through all that. It will teach you, yeah, we go through these storms, but no matter what, Jesus Christ will bring peace within our hearts. It will bring fulfillment. It will bring joy within your heart, because you know that your suffering is not being in vain. That's where a lot of people start to fall, is that they live their flesh in vain, to the point where it leads you to believing that you're all alone and you're doing everything by yourself, living in the reality of the world. But y'all, we got to understand that we're against principalities. You know, we're just flesh covered up in our spirits. You know, and you know that's why God says that the harvest is full, but the workers are few. You know, not a lot of people are going to humble themselves to that understanding, because we're so fixated on what's in front of us. We're not able to see past of what's in front of us. And so this is where this Bible verse comes to an end. If you allow God to be the whisper to you, then He will be the new shining sea to calm the storm that you're in. So instead of just swimming on your own, not only will you be lifted out of that sea, but you will be walking on that sea, just as Jesus Christ did.